Welcome back to Reverie Under the Moonlight. We're now doing the backtracking episode, and that means we're going to be revisiting a whole lot of areas that we've already been to, and most of it's just for ivory bugs and vitality fragments, but there was also some side stuff that we can do too, like trading quest and an optional boss. And to kick that off, we're going to go back to the Forlorn Monastery, because this guy right here has something new to say. Well, yes, I would probably be interested in meeting this, sibling. Let's just hope she doesn't hold any grudges. And there she is, just standing there in the dark, all menacing-like. Let's talk to her. Oh boy, I hope she doesn't know that I was the one that killed her. But, we'll leave her be for right now, because right now, we need to head upwards. Because if you recall, before we fought the partner, there was a little tunnel that we just couldn't get through. But now that we have the cat sphere, that's going to be not a problem this time around. Let's find out what's behind that tunnel. And it is a soft tissue. Also, there's an ivory bug right behind that item pickup. So the soft tissue is a magic item, and what it does is that it creates 3 pools of healing aura. And you can stand in that and it will heal you over time. What you could do to make it a little faster is that you can run in between the little pools and it'll heal you quicker, but the pools would deplete faster as well. However, that doesn't really matter because we're not going to really use this item as intended. In fact, we're not going to even keep it for much longer because we're going to give it to the partner sibling. And in doing so, we unlocked the door that was downstairs, and we're going to find out what's going on behind there. But before we do, my boss senses are tingling, so that means we should probably prep for a boss fight. We're going to go with our usual setup, except for the incensory, because we're going to swap that out for the drilling arrows. And you will see why in a little bit. Surprise! She turns out to be a boss. So the Priestess fight is sort of similar to the Arsonist fight, where the arena is pretty wide open and you have a lot of space to fight in. Not to mention her attacks are pretty magic-based, so it makes it really tough to get some melee attacks in. So that's why you're going to be relying a whole lot of ranged attacks to do your damage. So her first attack, she'll make 4 energy balls shoot out, and they move a little bit closer towards you, but they don't go that far, and all you have to do is just stay a little ways back and you'll be fine. Her second move is that she'll summon up a series of bubbles to surround her, and those act as a shield, and that's why you would need the drilling arrows, because without that you wouldn't be able to hit her in this state, and you'll just have to wait for her to either blow them up or do the other attack where she makes a spiral of energy balls shoot out from her. And once she reaches 50% health, she will teleport into the middle, and she'll pretty much just stay stationary for the rest of the fight, and she'll do sort of a 2-part attack. The first part being that she'll shoot out a spread of bubbles towards you, and then the second part being one of many other attacks, like a bunch of homing bubbles to attack you from above, or a shower of energy shooting down from above too. Really, all her attacks come from above, so all you have to do is just watch out above you, and you will be just fine for this fight. So now time to do the hard mode and show off just how effective the drilling arrows are. So now, as you can see, her little shield is ineffective because we can just go right through those bubbles and hit her anyways. So like I said, all you really need to be doing is just watching out from above, and you don't really have to pay the bubble attack too much mind because you know it's always going to happen. You just have to worry about what attack she's going with that's going to attack you from above. And our reward for defeating her without taking any damage is the Bloodstained Tissue, which switches up from a utility ability to a offensive ability. Because what you can do with it is that it will shoot out some bubbles, and then it will attack in a spiral pattern. It's good for big enemies, but not so much for the smaller enemies, because they're very easy to miss. Anyways, our next stop is the Subterranean Grave, because there's some stuff we need to get there too. So if you recall, back when we rescued Ashcorn from his cage, there was a little gap that we could probably squeeze through with our cat form, and why don't we try that out and see what happens. And there's an Ivory Bug right here. And oh geez, that other guy didn't make it. Oh wells, you can't save them all. And the second item we need to get is down here where the save bell was. Also a really gigantic jellyfish. Dirty shroom. What the hell am I supposed to do with this thing? Imp girls are fond of it. Where have I seen imp girls before? Well, the only place I can think of that have imp girls is the Grove, which is great because that's our next stop. Oh hey, an NPC we never met before. What's up? That's nice. Well, later. Looks like that door that was blocking us when we first came through is broken. And the girl that was crying is no longer here, though there is a pool of blood where she was. Not liking where that's going. Anyways, let's get out of here. Oh hey, it's you. Didn't think you would survive. Ah, no. Come on, cheer up. I wouldn't be here if you were. Alright then, I'll leave you to that. What the? How the heck did you get back here before I did? Are you a wizard or something? Alright, well, whatever. So anyways, we're going to start our backtracking here. Let's see what's going on down here. Whoa! What the? It's like an area within an area. And that area has one new enemy, which is this thing. It's really tough to get hit by it. It's almost like a non-enemy, because all it does is that, and you can pretty much just ignore it. Like, it's really hard to get hit by those spikes that it keeps shooting out of its butt. So there's a lot of enemies down there, and I don't want to take my chances, so why don't we test out the Bloodstained Tissue and see how well it handles against those enemies. I'm actually kind of surprised that it actually hit something, so there's that. And the final crest fragment is right here. And the ability that we get from it is the ability to fast travel. And I will show that off as soon as we get out of here. But before we actually leave the screen, go ahead and turn around because there's an Ivory Bug hanging out back here behind the portal. So how the fast traveling works is basically all you have to do is just go to Warp, and it will show you a list of all the places that you've been, and it will teleport you to the first save point in each area. So for example, if we were to teleport back to the Grove itself, we go back to the very first save point, which we need to do because there's some stuff that we haven't picked up yet. And this is the only way back to this point. Like here, remember this? All the way back in the first episode. Man, memories, nostalgia, other old-timey sounding words. And there's another Ivory Bug in this area, but first we need to clear out the enemies. So all you have to do is just stand right here, jump across and then dash, and then wedge yourself into this gap here, and then do a little trick jump to get that Ivory Bug. And now we're up to 15, which means we have another opportunity to get a prize. But first, let's revisit that Imp Girl that wasn't really nice to us the first time, and see if she's going to be a little nicer now. Alright, yeah, sure, fine. Don't eat me, damn. So the rotten bellflower, when used, poisons you. Now that might sound bad, but if you have the impurity flask, it actually serves as an alternative means to heal yourself. So now you don't have to shoot arrows into the walls constantly to get yourself poisoned. That about does it for the Grove area, but let's go ahead and head for the park and get our prize for our Ivory Bugs. A hazel badge? What the hell am I supposed to do with this thing? That doesn't tell me nothing. Well, luckily I already know what to do with this, but that means we have to go back to the Grove again. because we have to give it to Aerie. Alright, so the Blessing Charm is actually a pretty good item because what it does is that it summons a field of... those don't look like stars, they look like hexagons? Pentagons? I don't know. Anyways, it summons a field of magic around you and it will attack anything that touches it. You get about 8 shots per load, so it's a really effective means of protecting yourself. But anyways, let's head back to Car City and finally unlock that fog door that we saw all the way back in episode 2. Well, that about does it for this video. Tune in next time when we go into the Royal Pinnacle. That name right there. Fuck. I'm not sitting here for another half hour trying to pronounce that fucking name. I'll see you then.